I found out my girlfriend had been secretly recording me and posting videos on TikTok, mocking me with captions like, "Just settling until I can upgrade." Instead of confronting her, I sent the videos to her entire family. They cut her off completely. And now she has no fiancé and no family. Some background about us. I'm 29M, working as a financial analyst. Yeah, I know, super exciting stuff with spreadsheets all day. She's 27F, Lisa, works in marketing for this trendy cosmetics company. We've been together for just over a year. And up until about a month ago, I was seriously thinking she might be the one. Shows what I know, right? We met at this local brewery opening through mutual friends. I remember it was this crowded converted warehouse space with string lights everywhere and those ridiculously overpriced craft beers that somehow taste worth it. My buddy Mark dragged me there, promising good beer and better company after I'd been single for almost 2 years following a pretty rough breakup. The moment I saw Lisa across the room, something just clicked. She had this vibrant energy about her that lit up the space. Her laugh was completely infectious, one of those genuine laughs that makes everyone around want to join in even if they miss the joke. Within an hour of meeting her, my cheeks hurt from smiling so much, which hadn't happened in longer than I care to admit. She was wearing this casual green sundress that matched her eyes, and her dark hair was pulled back in this messy bun that somehow looked perfectly intentional. I'm not usually the type to notice these details, but with her, everything stood out. By the end of the night, we'd exchanged numbers, and I texted her the very next day, breaking that stupid wait 3 days rule that never made sense to me anyway. Our first date was at this little hole-in-the-wall Thai place I love. Second date, we went hiking at a nearby state park, and she didn't even complain when it started raining halfway through. By the third date, a picnic at the Botanical Gardens, I was already imagining introducing her to my parents at Christmas. For the first 6 months, everything was incredible. We had that honeymoon phase magic where even mundane errands together felt special. We developed all these little rituals: Sunday morning coffee at this local cafe where the barista always drew silly faces in our lattes, competitive miniature golf matches where the loser had to cook dinner, and these ridiculous dance parties in my kitchen while making dinner. My apartment is nothing special, a 1-bedroom in a decent part of town with questionable water pressure and a neighbor who practices saxophone at strange hours. But Lisa made it feel more like home. She gradually added her touch to the place, a throw pillow here, a potted plant there, and those string lights that women seem universally drawn to. I'd never considered myself particularly domestic, but I found myself enjoying creating this shared space with her. Our relationship wasn't perfect, but whose is? We had the usual disagreements couples have. I'm a planner down to the minute. I literally have Google Calendar reminders for everything from dentist appointments to when to water my, now our, plants. Lisa is completely spontaneous, the type to suggest a weekend road trip on Friday afternoon. I'd be stressing about hotel availability and traffic patterns while she'd be tossing random clothes in a bag, completely unfazed. Then there were the financial differences. I'm a saver by nature and profession. I track expenses, contribute to my 401k, and research purchases for weeks before pulling the trigger. Lisa believes in what she calls retail therapy, shopping when stressed, happy, bored, or basically experiencing any emotion. Nothing extreme enough to cause real problems, but enough that we'd occasionally have the talk about long-term financial goals. Despite these differences, I thought we complemented each other well. She pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I provided some stability. It felt balanced. We'd even started having those subtle conversations about the future, how many kids we might want someday, preferences on city versus suburban living, the usual relationship progression stuff. One thing about Lisa that I always found both endearing and slightly annoying was her constant connection to social media. It made sense given her job in marketing, but man, that phone was practically an extension of her hand. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, she was always posting, scrolling, or commenting. She'd occasionally include me in her Instagram posts, usually candid shots of us hiking or at dinner. Nothing I objected to, though I'd sometimes tease her about getting the perfect angle when our food was getting cold. I'm much more private by nature. I have the basic social media accounts everyone has, but I rarely post. My last Facebook update was probably thanking people for birthday wishes from 2 years ago. TikTok was something I had successfully avoided altogether, despite Lisa's repeated attempts to convert me. "You're missing out on an entire cultural phenomenon," she'd tease while scrolling through her feed, showing me dance trends or recipe hacks. I'd just shrug and say, "I'll survive somehow," and go back to whatever book I was reading. I'm kind of old school that way. I still prefer physical books over e-readers, the smell of paper, you know? And I'm that weirdo who prints out tickets instead of using the phone app, just in case. By our 1-year anniversary, things were solid enough that I'd started looking at rings. Nothing too flashy. Lisa preferred minimalist jewelry, but something meaningful. I'd even had this whole proposal idea involving revisiting the brewery where we first met. I had been working extra hours to save up, skipping lunches out with coworkers and canceling my rarely used gym membership to put more aside each month. Then came that Tuesday. It was just an ordinary workday. I was at my desk surrounded by the usual organized chaos, dual monitors displaying spreadsheets, a half-drunk cold coffee, my third of the day, and post-it notes with reminders stuck to every available surface. My office isn't anything special, just one of those open concept layouts that's supposed to promote collaboration but mostly just lets everyone hear when you're on a personal call. I was deep in preparation for a client presentation, running various financial projections and trying to make boring data look interesting, when my phone lit up with a text from Jen. Jen was one of Lisa's friends, part of her girls' night crew that went out for wine and tapas every other Thursday. She was cool enough, the kind of person I got along with at group gatherings but never really connected with one-on-one. She had a sharp sense of humor and seemed more grounded than some of Lisa's other friends. We'd exchanged numbers once when coordinating a surprise birthday party for Lisa, but she'd never texted me directly before. Her message read, "Hey, Eric. Not sure if I should send this, but I'd want to know if it were me. Lisa posted this yesterday and it's getting a lot of views. I don't think it's right." Attached was a TikTok link. I remember staring at it for a moment, confused since I didn't even have the app installed. My immediate thought was that Lisa had shared some embarrassing but harmless video of me dancing poorly at a wedding or something equally innocent. I clicked on it, and my phone automatically opened a browser version. And there I was, asleep in my own bed, morning light filtering through my blinds, the ones Lisa always complained let in too much light but I never got around to replacing. I was lying on my side, one arm tucked under my pillow, hair sticking up in that ridiculous way it does when I haven't had a haircut in too long. The camera then panned from my sleeping form to Lisa making an exaggerated grimace, pointing back at me. The text overlay read, "POV, settling until you can upgrade." The caption below, "Girls, sometimes you take what's available while waiting for what you deserve. Hashtag settling for now, hashtag where Ariel the Goodman, hashtag upgrade soon." The video had over 15,000 views. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. My hands actually went cold and clammy as I scrolled through the comments. They were a mix of supportive "you deserve better girl" messages, laughing emojis, and the occasional "this is kinda mean" comment. I recognized several of Lisa's friends in the comments section, including people who had been perfectly friendly to my face at birthdays and game nights. People who'd eaten dinner at my table and accepted drinks from my hand. I watched it 3 times, each viewing revealing new layers of humiliation. This wasn't just a private joke between friends. This was Lisa publicly declaring that I was essentially a placeholder, someone she was tolerating until something better came along. All while I was asleep, vulnerable in my own home, completely unaware I was being recorded and mocked for thousands of strangers' entertainment. I texted Jen back, "Thanks for sending this. I had no idea." She replied almost immediately, "I'm really sorry. I just thought it was messed up. She's been posting stuff like this for a while, but this crossed the line." Wait. For a while? I scrolled through the comments again and noticed Lisa responding to someone who asked if this was the first time she'd shared the struggle with a link to her profile. My heart sank even further. I sat there for a moment, staring at my computer screen without really seeing it. The financial projections I'd been working on for hours might as well have been hieroglyphics. The woman I was considering proposing to was essentially using me as content for her social media, portraying our relationship as some kind of burden she was heroically enduring. My first instinct was to call her immediately, to demand an explanation, to hear her tell me it was all just a joke taken too far. But something held me back. A strange calm settled over me, the kind that sometimes comes in moments of crisis when your brain knows freaking out won't help. I needed the full picture first. I downloaded TikTok right there at my desk, created an account with a random username, and searched for Lisa's profile. There it was, nearly 20,000 followers with a bio that read "documenting the journey to finding my worth." I scrolled through her videos, and with each one, my stomach sank further. While not all were about me, there was a recurring theme: her relationship with Mr. Good Enough for Now, apparently her nickname for me. How had I never known this? Videos of me cooking dinner captioned, "At least he can cook since he can't dress himself." Clips of me explaining something about my work with captions suggesting I was boring her to death. A video of me carefully wrapping her birthday present, the vintage record player she'd been hinting about for months that I'd scoured eBay to find, with its cute "how hard he tries" overlaid. There was one particularly painful video of me asleep on the couch after I'd worked a 12-hour day to finish a big project. The caption read, "POV, when your boyfriend is too tired for date night again but expects a medal for bringing home takeout." The comments were filled with women telling her she deserves someone with more energy and ambition. The reality? I'd worked overtime to finish the project early so we could take a long weekend trip to the beach house her friend had offered us. The takeout was from her favorite Thai place, which was 30 minutes across town in the opposite direction from my office. Interspersed among these videos were clips of celebrity men and random attractive guys she'd spotted in public with captions like "upgrade material" and "the goal." All garnering hundreds of comments from women encouraging her, telling her to never settle, to keep looking for her king, all while I had been saving for a ring and planning our future. I closed the app and sat in silence for a while, contemplating my next steps. My colleague Dave stopped by my desk to ask about some numbers, took one look at my face, and asked if I was feeling sick. I mumbled something about possibly coming down with something and needing to wrap up some things before heading home. The relationship was clearly over. That wasn't even a question in my mind. But the manner of ending it. That required some thought. Lisa had made me unwittingly play a role in her public performance. Perhaps it was time for me to write my own scene. I knew that Lisa's family was fairly conservative and traditional. Her parents, particularly her father, had always been kind to me. Michael was a retired high school principal with that natural authoritative presence that never quite goes away. He enjoyed grilling and telling slightly embellished fishing stories, and he'd taken to inviting me along on their men-only annual fishing trip, a privilege I'd been told was not extended to Lisa's previous boyfriends. Her mother, Catherine, was a warm, no-nonsense woman who taught second grade for 30 years and still volunteered at her old school. She'd already started dropping hints about grandchildren and had given me her mother's cookie recipes to keep in the family. They weren't particularly tech-savvy but did have a family group chat that included Lisa, her parents, her two brothers, both older and very protective, and her grandmother who lived in Florida. They primarily used it to coordinate family dinners, share holiday greetings, and brag about the grandkids. Lisa's brothers both had children. Lisa always kept her content PG rated in that chat, sharing only the highlight reel of her life and our relationship. I was included in the chat about 6 months into our relationship, another sign I'd thought indicated the seriousness of our relationship. The timing was perfect. Thanksgiving was just 2 weeks away, and the family chat had been active with planning discussions. Catherine was delegating dishes, Michael was debating between turkey or ham, always settling on both, and Lisa's grandmother was threatening to bring her infamous Jell-O salad that nobody actually ate. I took screenshots of the original TikTok along with several others where she'd been particularly dismissive of me. I saved the video itself as well. Then I composed a simple message. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to share something Lisa recently posted about our relationship. I thought you might be interested in seeing how she views someone she's been dating for over a year. Looking forward to Thanksgiving. Eric. I attached the video and screenshots, then hit send before I could second guess myself. I then blocked Lisa's number, turned off my phone, and went for a long walk. The November evening was chilly, but I barely noticed. I walked for hours through the neighborhood, past the park where Lisa and I had picnicked countless times, past the ice cream shop where we'd stopped after movies, past all these landmarks of what I'd thought was a relationship heading toward marriage. I needed the time to clear my head, to process the end of something I'd invested so much in. When I returned home and turned my phone back on, it exploded with notifications. 14 missed calls from Lisa. 28 text messages ranging from confused, "Why did you send that to my family?" to angry, "How dare you?" to pleading, "Please call me. I can explain." There were also messages from her brothers, both apologetic and clearly embarrassed by their sister's behavior. The older one, Matt, who had always gotten along with especially well, sent, "Man, I don't even know what to say. That's messed up. You're a good guy. She's way out of line." Her father had sent a message that simply read, "This what you do to people who treat you right? Your mother and I raised you better than this. We need to talk, young lady." Lisa's mother had sent me a separate message, "Eric, I don't even know what to say. This isn't how we raised her. I'm so sorry." I didn't respond to any of them. I turned my phone off again and slept surprisingly well for someone whose relationship had just imploded. Maybe it was emotional exhaustion, or maybe it was the strange relief that comes with finally seeing something clearly even when the truth hurts. The next morning, the missed call count had reached 47. By evening, 68. Lisa had begun calling from friends' phones when she realized I'd blocked her number. She'd shown up at my apartment twice, but I wasn't home. I decided to stay with my friend Chris for a few days to avoid the inevitable confrontation while emotions were still raw. Chris was great about it, one of those friends who knows exactly when to offer a beer and when to give you space. He didn't press for details beyond what I volunteered, just set me up in his spare room with an old Xbox and told me to stay as long as I needed. His girlfriend Megan made her famous stress relief cookies, basically chocolate chip cookies with extra chocolate, and left them outside the door when I was having particularly rough moments. 3 days after sending the video to her family, I finally answered one of Lisa's calls. I was sitting on Chris's balcony, watching the sunset and drinking a beer when her call came through. I figured it was time. "Why would you do that to me?" she demanded, her voice a mix of anger and tears. "Do you know how humiliated I am? My dad won't even speak to me now. Why would I do that to you?" I repeated, keeping my voice calm. It wasn't hard, I'd moved past anger into something closer to sad resignation. "Lisa, you recorded me sleeping in my own bed and posted it online for thousands of strangers to see, telling them I was someone you were settling for. What exactly did you expect?" "It was just content," she protested. "It's not that serious. Everyone does it." "Everyone records their partners without consent and publicly demeans them?" I asked. "You're taking it too literally. It's just TikTok humor. My followers know it's partly an act." "But I didn't know it was an act because you never told me I was being featured on your account," I pointed out. "You never asked for my permission. And from what I saw scrolling through your videos, it didn't seem like much of an act at all." She switched tactics. "I'm sorry if you were hurt. That wasn't my intention. But sending it to my entire family? That was deliberately trying to hurt me." "Maybe," I acknowledged, "or maybe I just thought they deserved to see who you really are when you think no one's watching. The same courtesy you didn't extend to me." "So what now?" she asked after a long pause. I could hear the hope in her voice, the expectation that this was a fight we could work through like our disagreements about schedules or spending habits. "Now nothing. We're done, Lisa. I was looking at engagement rings last month, and you were telling the internet I was your placeholder until someone better came along. There's no coming back from that." She started crying then, real tears from the sound of it. I didn't mean it like that. I love you. The TikTok stuff, it's just content. It's not real. The problem is our relationship wasn't real to you either, I said quietly. It was just material. I was just material. I ended the call while she was still protesting. I sat there for a long time afterward, watching the sky turn from orange to deep blue to black, trying to reconcile the woman I thought I knew with the person who could do this. Had there been signs I missed? Was I so caught up in where I thought we were heading that I failed to see who she really was? By Thanksgiving, the missed call count had reached 94, spread across her number, friends' phones, even a couple of calls from a business line I didn't recognize, which I later realized was her calling from her office phone. I spent Thanksgiving with my family, deliberately keeping my phone off for most of the day. My mom knew something was wrong, mothers always know, but didn't push when I said Lisa and I were taking some time apart. My younger sister, who had always been skeptical of Lisa, she's a little too perfect, like she's always performing, gave me extra portions of her famous maple sweet potatoes without comment. It was exactly what I needed, the comfortable familiarity of family who love you without needing all the details. When I finally checked my phone that evening, there was a single text from Lisa's father: Lisa won't be joining us for dinner today. Her mother and I made it clear that until she sincerely apologizes to you and takes accountability for her actions, she needs to reflect on her choices. We didn't raise her to treat people this way. For what it's worth, we always thought you were good for her. Clearly, she didn't deserve you. Happy Thanksgiving, son. That text hit me harder than I expected. I'd always liked Lisa's parents, had genuinely enjoyed the family dinners and holiday gatherings with them. Michael had taught me to properly smoke a brisket during one memorable weekend, and Catherine had this way of making everyone feel instantly at home. In some ways, I was losing them in this breakup too, collateral damage from Lisa's choices and my response to them. It's been 3 weeks now. Lisa has finally stopped calling, though I still get the occasional text pleading for another chance. The last one read: I miss our Sunday coffees. The cafe isn't the same without you. Please just talk to me. According to mutual friends, who have awkwardly found themselves in the middle, she's posted several tearful apology videos on TikTok, claiming to have learned a valuable lesson about privacy and respect. Her follower count has actually increased. Apparently nothing drives engagement like relationship drama. The irony isn't lost on me. I've moved on as best I can. I returned the ring I was considering and put the money toward a solo trip to Peru instead. I've always wanted to hike Machu Picchu, something Lisa had never been interested in. All that walking just to see some old rocks? I leave next month. I've also started therapy to process the relationship and my own role in it. Why didn't I notice the signs earlier? Was I so invested in the idea of us that I missed who she really was? My therapist, Dr. Abrams, a pragmatic older woman with a surprisingly sharp sense of humor, says this kind of blindsiding is more common than people think. We see what we want to see in relationships until the evidence becomes too overwhelming to ignore, she told me during our second session. The hardest part wasn't even the public humiliation. It was realizing that while I was planning a future, she was planning content. While I was falling in love, she was crafting a narrative where I was just a stepping stone to something better. It's a strange kind of betrayal, not the classic cheating scenario that's at least somewhat straightforward to process, but something more subtle and perhaps more damaging to your sense of reality. As for TikTok, I deleted the account I created to view her videos. Some cultural phenomena I'm still happy to miss out on. I've gone back to my books, my spreadsheets, and those quiet Saturday mornings with coffee and the newspaper that Lisa always found painfully boring. The familiar routines are comforting now, reminders that there was Amy before us and there will be Amy after. Edit: a lot of you are asking if I feel bad about ruining her relationship with her family. I don't. I didn't force her to record me without consent. I didn't force her to post demeaning content about our relationship. I simply showed her family what she was already showing thousands of strangers. If that damaged their relationship, that's on her, not me. Edit 2. To clarify on the legality question some have raised, yes, recording someone sleeping without their consent and posting it publicly can indeed be illegal in many places. I consulted with a lawyer friend who confirmed this violates both privacy laws and potentially platform terms of service. I chose not to pursue legal action because, frankly, I just wanted to move on. Edit 3. For those saying you should have talked to her first, what exactly was there to talk about? Hey, I noticed you've been creating content for months portraying me as someone you're settling for. Can we discuss that? The relationship was already over the moment I saw that video. The only question was how to end it. Edit 4/update. It's been 2 months now. Yesterday, I ran into Lisa's mother at the grocery store. In the produce section, I was debating between romaine and spinach when I heard someone call my name. She hugged me and said Lisa's finally started therapy to work through her need for validation from strangers. Apparently, the TikTok incident was just the most visible symptom of deeper issues. Catherine looked tired but hopeful. She told me Lisa had deleted all her social media accounts as part of her recovery process. It's been hard on the whole family, she admitted, but sometimes the most painful endings lead to necessary beginnings for everyone involved. I wished her and the family well, and meant it. As I watched her walk away, I realized I felt nothing but a distant sadness for what could have been. I think that's progress. I'm heading to Peru next week. My sister decided to join me, Turns out she's always wanted to see Machu Picchu too. Life goes on, just in directions you don't always anticipate. Thanks for reading, Reddit. Feels good to get this all out there.